You're on.
Hi, I'm Betsy Morris, co-convener of East Bay Gray Panthers, and this is my co-convener, Carol. Do you want to say hello? Wave. There we go.
Hello.
And we have some special guests, people we don't always see in our regulars. Today, our special speaker is Scarth Locke from Rebuilding Together, once upon a time known as Christmas in April, but it's now a national outfit. Has anybody here ever worked with when it was Christmas in April or Rebuilding Together? Jackie.
I was a volunteer.
See others.
Yes.
So they have several exciting programs, but one in particular that Scarth is going to talk about in a few minutes. So my co-convener, Carol, will occasionally step in and wrangle when I get a little too wild with the tech here. Just look to her. She'll be tracking time. And actually, Carol, you usually start with our rules of the road, our agreements.
I have to find it.
And I see now. So we'll have a few announcements before our speaker starts, although if we get to 1:45, that's his golden time. We have time for discussion and Q&A, which I'm very much looking forward to. And we'll briefly also follow up with events that we're sponsoring or part of as part of Affordable Housing Month here in the East Bay, Contra Costa, and Alameda counties. Then after our speaker dives deep into Rebuilding Together and the Safe at Home program, I'll make a report on the tenant convention and the die-in that we're planning, the May 21st. We'll also have an update on the billionaires tax, which is a proposed ballot initiative. Hopefully Robert might be able to update us on CARA, the California Alliance of Retired Americans. And we'll also have a guest speaker after 2:30, George Lippman, who is come to talk to us about the flock security surveillance drones and cameras that have a history of working with ICE, that are being introduced. Hope they'll be voted on in Oakland and in Berkeley, and I'm sorry, the Board of Supervisors of the county of Alameda County. So we have a lot of things percolating. This is legislative season, and we're involved in some very good activities, both in Berkeley and the county and statewide. So we want to catch you up on that. And Hallie Hammer, I hope that you'll be able to report out on CARA.
Well, I wasn't at the last CARA meeting because I had another meeting I had to be at. For some reason, I'm not getting any video feed, but I'm here. It's showing that I can't use my camera for no apparent reason.
There's something with your computer that's intercepting it.
Yeah, I don't know. I never had that problem before. Well, anyway, I'm here.
Thank you for showing up. I hear an echo. Does anyone else? Yeah, yes. Carol?
When both you and Rains have are off mute,
okay,
there's an echo.
I'm just going to speak. I'll turn this off.
I have the group agreements ready.
Carol, do you want to read the agreements that we ask our visitors and members to abide by?
First is one mic, accessibility, step forward, step back, keep remarks under 3 minutes.
What is she saying?
Respect each other, respect ourselves, support our co-conveners and our timekeeper. And I'll hand it back to Betsy. And Betsy's preoccupied.
I thought I heard her say she couldn't hear you, Carol.
Oh,
I can hear Carol now. I had to switch off of my headphones and just go full
okay.
normal. So have each of you heard about the billionaire ballot proposition, tax the billionaire ballot initiative that has been percolating about? And the good news is that the SEIU healthcare workers, United Healthcare Workers, has obtained more than enough votes, and they're now being counted and the signatures verified so that it will be on the agenda, and that on the ballot, sorry, in November. We're pretty supportive of that concept because of all the cuts that are being made in Medi-Cal. So this tax would assist in a lot of areas where our current budget deficit needs to fill in. And I wanted to play this video. It's a very short one, but it'll be a little teaser to an event that we're participating in planning coming up May 21st. And I still haven't gotten the video properly set up, so I'm a little frustrated. And so I'm going to just say, I'm going to just start introducing our guest speaker while I figure out the video mechanics. So we have a good crowd here. Thank you for coming. Our guest today, I'll say it again, is Scarth Locke, and I'm missing him. I'm going to put you on speaker mode or pin. Can you pin him, yeah. Rains? Just pin him. You don't have to have him in the middle of the screen, yeah, but you can at least find him. So Scarth is the Social Indicators of Health Program Director for Rebuilding Together. They serve both Alameda and Contra Costa counties. I found out through conversation that he's trained as an occupational therapist. So that is an incredibly useful skill for any of us who see a doctor and are getting a little older as well, or sports injuries. So you might say a few words about yourself, Scarth, but he's also program director for Safe at Home, which is a very important free resource for seniors in our county to have, particularly the ones that own homes. But the cost of repairs is so high, and they come in Rebuilding Together with a free set of services, which he'll talk about. And then we can have a conversation about some of the issues that have come up and questions we have for Scarth. So Scarth, please feel free to introduce yourself personally a little bit, and then Rebuilding Together, and then we can get into the weeds with you about the Safe at Home program in particular.
Well, thanks for having me, Betsy. Let me make sure I'm being heard. You hear me all right? All right, good. Yes, as Betsy said, I am an occupational therapist, and before I was working with Rebuilding Together, I was in home health for about 10 years. So I was one of those clinicians who would come to your home once you've been discharged from a hospital or a skilled nursing facility or a few other possibilities. Or sometimes people just get referred to home health, even if they don't have a hospital visit. So I have been inside of thousands of homes up and down from Castro Valley to Oakley to Hercules, sort of all manner of homes in that area, this area, I should say. And so Rebuilding Together started working with Samuel Merritt. I'm an adjunct professor at Samuel Merritt, and so I was supervising some students who were doing field work through Rebuilding Together, and then eventually came on board full time with Rebuilding Together to run this program. So Christmas in April was the initial version of Rebuilding Together. They would do kind of a barn raising style events. I guess many of you are probably familiar with this. They would get a bunch of people together and sometimes get, a bunch of corporate sponsors and do kind of one or a group of houses in a neighborhood and do major renovations to those houses. And they would, do a few, like each chapter would do a few of those a year. And then as it evolved, it became less about those major events and more about having smaller teams go out to homes to do work, like putting in grab bars, sort of accessibility modifications, grab bars, ramps, lighting, sort of minor repairs. And so this Rebuilding Together has a program like that. That's called the Save at Home program. And that takes up the majority of my time is running that program. So I perform the home. So that once we've done an initial intake where we establish that the person is eligible for the services, I come and do a whole assessment that takes into account sort of the home and what's needed, but then also the person who's in the home and what their habits are, what their routines are, what their needs are, what their sort of future might look like. And I take a kind of a not a super detailed, but some level of kind of clinical assessment of diagnoses and sort of what kind of health issues people might be dealing with to think about their current and potential future challenges. So then I also work with the home repair technicians, the handymen who will come and do the work after I've done my assessment. So there are a few other programs that we're doing as who was it who was talking earlier about getting a water heater? I can't remember now. Jackie was saying we have another program that we're running in the city of Berkeley as kind of a pilot program to do energy efficiency upgrades. That program is called Just Transition. So we're doing more efficient water heaters, mini split heat pumps, replacing appliances as well. So we kind of have a variety. There's even more that I could talk about as far as our various programs, but the main program that provides home accessibility modifications is Just Transition. And I did prepare a little slideshow, which I think I can just share right away. So I'm thinking to do that.
Please do. You have the power.
Yeah, I have the power. Oh, where is it? Let's see here. Oh, that's why. Desktop. There we go. That should be it. Let's see. Oh, no, it's giving me a... Oh, strange. I'm screen sharing. Well, okay, so you should be seeing a big green screen that says supporting aging in place through the Safe at Home program.
If anyone can't, if it's not large enough and you can't enlarge your screen, let Scarth know. And just remember some of our members, our visitors are, limited vision. So you want to say what's on it.
I will. There are not a whole lot of words on these slides. Let's see if I might be able to tweak the share to make it a little larger if you need it. I'll go forward for now. So this is just sort of basic introductory page. There's me, Scarth Locke. Not long ago, within the last, whatever it is, like 3 years, finished my doctorate. Oh my, what is that? Come on now. Sorry, I'm trying to advance the slide and I'm having difficulty. Oh, come on now. Why is it not doing it?
What was your doctorate in?
In occupational therapy. It was a post-professional occupational therapy doctorate.
I think we are seeing the slide advance, even if you aren't.
Oh no.
I haven't. I'm sorry. I still see the green slide with the title.
But I saw you go through a bunch of different.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, as I was clicking on it, boy, this is a new I'm going to try something different. I'm going to exit the presenting mode. Forgive me for this little, this may be a little smaller, but I think it's going to be more, there we go, more effective. So I'm going to kind of start from the beginning. This will probably be very familiar to a lot of you. So this program looks to address the gap between the needs and how to get those needs met. So a lot of homeowners, particularly older homeowners, know perfectly well what they need in their home. But there is such an incredible variety of different kinds of solutions, different kinds of products, different kinds of vendors available that it can be quite intimidating to try to figure out who you're going to go with, what product you're going to go with to address your issues. Another limitation are physical limitations. If you're thinking to do it yourself, that just can be a challenge if you can't get under your sink or up a ladder or that sort of thing, because there are plenty of cheap solutions that require more, physical involvement. There's a lot of another limitation can be the quick and cheaper solutions that can be provided through durable medical equipment. So when you have a health condition, there's a lot of free stuff that you can get through insurance, and depending on your level of insurance, you can get even grab bars, ramps, wheelchairs, commodes, these kinds of things. But oftentimes those simple solutions don't really address the deeper issues of how you get in and out of your home, for example. And there are just if you're on a fixed income, there are basic issues with having to make a decision about what's your priority here. If you need to choose between home modifications and other vital necessities, sometimes the vital necessities come first, and they keep coming first. And then, repairs get delayed, upgrades get delayed until they become worse. And then you have an even more expensive problem to deal with. For those of us who are fortunate enough to have family members around, or they may be physically present or nearby, but not always available or capable of assisting with complex problems. And finally, and this is something that we encounter sort of almost with every new client that we see, is older adults feel rightly, quite vulnerable when they're working with new agencies. Allowing somebody to access your personal information, get inside of your home can feel quite dangerous. And a lot of people will avoid getting important modifications because they're just afraid of being scammed, right? I mean, who doesn't have 24 calls a day from various places that you have no idea what they're trying to get from you, right? Whoopsie, a little too far. So what we offer at Rebuilding Together is a service for low-income homeowners in Alameda and Contra Costa counties. I'll go into more detail about what low-income means in an upcoming slide. This program is, looks like there's a hand up, I think. Before I answer the question from Dirk, I've forgotten how much time I have. Betsy, could you unmute yourself, Betsy?
That you have sometime, we can devote plenty of time to this. We have someone coming on between 2:15 and 2:30.
Oh, okay.
You have plenty of time to present, but I encourage you to stop every now and then. If people need something, please in the chat, you can address me as the person managing right now the Zoom. But if you have a question for Scarth, then we'll get to those later. Just be patient, y'all. And if you would like to address Dirk, you please do. He's
sure.
you may need to share what's on your screen more carefully. So, yeah, Dirk.
Question is, when experts are required, electricians and plumbers, how do you pay for them?
How do we pay for the people that do the work for us?
Electricians and plumbers, really skilled craftsmen.
Dirk, these
Well,
are free services.
yeah.
If you have questions about the program, then please either put them in chat or wait till he's ready to take questions.
Okay.
But you might want to emphasize that again.
Yes, exactly. I will reiterate, these services are totally free. So the way that we pay for them is through a number of different sources. We have a lot of layered funding through federal and city and county grants, as well as a bunch of other stuff. It would make your eyes roll in the back of your head if I had to explain all of that stuff. So the significance of this program being administered by an OT, well, as far as I know, I may be the only occupational therapist who is running a Rebuilding Together program in the whole country at this point. And the great advantage is that I have a really sort of deep understanding of how behavior patterns, how diagnoses, how the aging process can affect function. And I have just a lot of skill in terms of just interviewing and assessing people. So I can get very quickly to a lot of kind of information that wouldn't necessarily be obvious. And of course, just my understanding that sort of bleeds into the whole program. So we have a very whole person approach to this program. It's not just about putting some nails in your house. As I mentioned earlier, it's completely free. We don't take any money for our services. We have quite an extensive list of things that we can do. And again, it would be confusing to try to give you every single thing, but generally speaking, we do accessibility modifications, and mostly that's stuff like grab bars and handrails, ramps. We do a lot of lighting and home security. We'll do minor repairs to electrical and plumbing, nothing too major, because our funding doesn't allow us to get too deep. But we try to kind of make our money go as far as we can, and we do that by using not just professional contractors and folks that are on staff, but we also use volunteers. So it's kind of a mix. We have some teams of volunteers who go do a lot of work for us for free, and that sort of gives us more leverage to make the dollars go further. And we do this on a timeline that is pretty flexible. Every once in a while, we can get somebody fixed up within a matter of a week. Often it takes a few months. This is definitely not an emergency service. It does take a little bit longer than that. But yeah, I'd say, like 4 months at the outside. So I'm going to move on, give you a few pictures. So for those of you who can't see this well, I'm afraid I can just sort of give you a description. This is a before and after picture, two before and after, a before picture and an after picture of a closet in a home that I recently went to. So on the left, you see a closet space that's full of stuff and a bunch of red lines over it. And those red lines are what I sort of envisioned as a shelf scenario kind of in the closet to help this person organize their closet. And then then we sent in Ed Leahy, one of our volunteers, and Ed brought in a bunch of equipment and created an organized closet space. This closet space was preventing his access to the bathroom. So by clearing out this closet space, this particular client had some pretty serious spinal issues that gave him, he was able to walk, but with great difficulty. So he was at quite a risk of falling as he was trying to move around his apartment. So this really reduced his risk of falling. And additionally, let's see. Oh, I'm going to skip one slide actually 2 slides, because this picture, these two pictures were his bathroom. So he was getting in and out of his bathroom, but his toilet had been messed up by a contractor that he paid personally for. The toilet wasn't working at all. He had mounted a toilet, like a booster seat, over the toilet, and then duct taped plastic bags into the toilet. And he was using those plastic bags because he couldn't flush the toilet. So this is a pretty horrific example. These are normally people have at least a functioning toilet, but he had been working this way for many months, like half a year, and he had been using his neighbor's bathroom. So we came in and we put in a new toilet, which I probably don't need to explain to you the benefit of having a functioning toilet. It's pretty clear. Another common thing that we do on this slide is you see on the left, there's a bathtub with a bath chair in it. And on the right, there is a kind of a door unit that's been placed on the bathtub. That is what's called a tub cut. And depending on the home and the finances available, people often start to have difficulty when they get arthritis in the knees and so forth, getting in and out of their tubs. And so, the perfect version is take out the tub and put in a shower, but you can't always do that with the money. So there's a thing called a tub cut, where you remove a portion of the tub that then creates a door or a gap that you can step through really easily, and it makes bathing much easier. This particular tub was for a client with MS, and so her husband was helping her in the tub, and him helping her over the tub where she couldn't lift her own leg. So he had to kind of hold her up and then also help her lift her leg up over the tub. It was very difficult and challenging for him. And because of that, much less safe. So we created this situation that made it much easier for him and much safer for the both of them. And finally, we have a ramp. This is a very beautiful one. This is, again, one of our volunteers did this one. On the left side, you see a door. It's about 2 feet off the ground. And this just kind of plywood board that just stretched about 4 or 5 feet from the door, which was not nearly enough. So it created a very steep ramp. It was just what they could afford. And it was very frightening for her to go up and down that. So then we brought in our volunteers and created a much longer board that was about 2.5 times longer. So it gave a safer, more gradual entrance into the home and made it easier and safer for her to leave the home so that she could leave. Prior to this, every time she left the home, she had to have somebody with her just to make sure she didn't fall. Now she can walk in and out of the home without any assistance. That's just a few examples of like relatively low cost items that have a really great impact. So those are a few before and after pictures. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about our eligibility. So this diagram here, this is for Contra Costa County, but Alameda County, Contra Costa County, pretty similar as far as income limits. So for our program, you can be eligible for the program if you make 80% or less of the average median income. So that means if you're a single person in a home and you have income in a year of less than $87,000, you'd qualify for the program. If there are more than one person in the home, if there's 2 people, it's less than 100,000, and it moves on up to with 6 people in the home, there are $145,000 is the limit beyond which we cannot serve you at this point. But for people on fixed incomes, that generally doesn't seem to be too much of a barrier. Looks like there are 2 questions. Dirk, I think maybe your hand was left up from before. Carol, did you have a question?
Yes, I do. Am I unmuted?
You're unmuted. I can hear you.
Thank you very much. First, I want to know how you prioritize those persons that you take on, because I know that you have a lot of requests coming in. Second, I was under the impression that you also did renters if the landlord agrees. And third, I'm the chair of the City of Berkeley Homeless Services Panel of Experts, although I'm speaking in my individual capacity. And we did site visits to some of our motel conversions. And there was a particular motel conversion where and these are run by the nonprofits. The city contracts out with the nonprofits, but it's then nonprofits that would be responsible. So at one of our motel conversions, one ADA, the only ADA room we saw, there were two there, was not accessible. It was only partially accessible. The bathroom was not accessible. And is that something that, even though it's a nonprofit, that you would be willing to work with them?
So I'll start with your first question. How do we prioritize? For the most part, it's first come, first serve. And we reserve the kind of privilege to prioritize more urgent needs. I will say also, what affects our ability is the location of an applicant. So some cities we have contracts with, and we can provide services and get refunded, not refunded, but reimbursed for our work. Other cities we don't. So we, for example, the city of Oakland right now, we do not have a contract with the city of Oakland. But we have cities with contracts with cities around there. So we kind of, well, what's the expression? Borrow from Peter to pay Paul, I think. So we kind of make it work. We stretch our resources so that the money that we get from one place can sometimes help to pay for projects in another place. So the shortest answer is first come, first serve, with a little caveat of, if there's urgency or better or worse financial, relationships with the area that the resident is in, we can get to some things quicker and some things slower. Your second question about renters, at this point, we do not serve renters. I've been working really hard to try to change that. Working with renters means that it would basically be Medi-Cal who would be paying for who would be reimbursing us for the services. And there's a program called CalAIM. It's throughout California, and it provides there's funding for a number of different kinds of benefits for Medi-Cal members. Rent deposits, food security, mental health benefits, homeless benefits. And one of them is a lifetime $7,500 chunk that you can spend on accessibility modifications if you're a renter. The challenge is that there are only a very few agencies that have gotten a contract with the various major players, and they're not writing anymore right now. So we've kind of been knocking on a lot of doors. I'm also talking to PACE, the PACE network, to try to find out if we can serve their folks. And actually, we're talking to Hayward right now. Like, we just began a conversation about trying to do work for renters whose landlord is a nonprofit. That's actually through Glad Tidings. We're kind of, the subject has just been broached. So we really want to serve renters. We don't have a lot of means to do that right now.
That is very informative. It's very informative. I would certainly like to know, so I can distribute that information, if there's anything that we can do from the community, and also when there is something that would come through KLA.
So when we could add it to the agenda today, or if you follow up on what could be done. Carol's very well connected with commissions and departments, but I think we could talk about that follow up. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
those are, we're nearing the close of my presentation. So Betsy, there's
no rush.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, it's going back to this slide, you can see that there are
can you respond to the third question, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, can we? Yeah, so the answer is we don't have a history right now of providing accessibility modifications for other nonprofits who might be effectively acting as a landlord. But we're starting our first conversation right now with the city of Hayward, and we're absolutely all in trying to figure this out. So if there's a way to do that sort of thing with other nonprofits through the city of Berkeley or elsewhere, we're very interested. It's been really tough trying to figure out how to get to that funding stream, and we haven't had a lot of luck yet, to be honest.
So should I advise the director of the nonprofit, in this case?
Carol, I'm sorry, Carol, there's
Yeah,
other
thank
hands
you.
up.
Oh,
And
okay,
thank
you.
Let's get back to this, if you don't mind. Just make a note of your questions or put them in chat.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Carol.
George, if Scarth, are you willing to take one more quick question for clarification?
Yes,
Or
you'll
you
see.
wanna
My
finish?
final slide is more of a wrap up, so this might be a good
Okay.
time to take his question.
It's on the current slide of limits. Is there a limit on assets?
No, it's all about income.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we're only tracking income. We need proof of ownership. We need to make sure that the person whose benefit we are working in is on the title of the home. And we need to see tax returns, kind of everything, like all pages, all attachments, and some bank statements. But we're not looking at assets, we're looking at income, which
Thank you.
can, yeah, exactly. That can make a real difference.
It does in my case, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, if you're on a fixed income, then the assets you're holding for a rainy day, and you don't want to leave those alone, right?
Exactly.
So this next slide, okay, this is just kind of a general summary of some of the benefits, and this is the way we look at it. There's some things that are obvious and some things that might not be so obvious. The first one on the left here, reducing fall risks, that's pretty plain, I think. Improving comfort in the home. Again, the comfort in the home has a lot of kind of secondary benefits, right? If the temperature is managed well, if your water heater is working, if these things create a place that you can be more engaged in your life. Also, by creating a situation where you can stay in your home longer, we're helping people to preserve intergenerational wealth. And this is something that we, it's not just a background part. Like, this is a really part of our mission, is to help people stay in their homes and keep those families in their homes. This kind of stuff facilitates meaningful activity. So if your dryer is not working and you can't dry your clothes, it changes the whole shape of your life. It reduces caregiver burden. And now sometimes that's pretty small, like the changes can be small, and other times, like the example I gave of this ramp, it can be quite big. This woman doesn't have to call somebody to escort her out of her home anymore, which also kind of leads to the final thing of fostering social connection. So when people are more mobile in their homes and more able to get out, the difference between being able to walk safely around a home and not really can change your whole life. As an OT, I saw this where when I'm working with people who, when I find them, they are more or less chair bound, and when I can advance to something where they're not chair bound, it changes everything. People are more willing to have guests in their home as well as to get out. There's more, but that's the general idea. So if you or somebody that you think may be interested, we have an intake specialist, our community lead. His name is Donnell Jones, and he is the first person that you would talk to get all of your eligibility information over to us. You can also send an email to this this is also a website link. Now, I have included this document as a PDF in the chat. So if you want to download that, you can have access to all this stuff. We have an application. We generally ask that you wait for Donnell. The application has a lot of information that it asks for. And normally when people fill out the application themselves, we end up having to go back over it and help them fill out some other stuff. So normally the first most important step is to reach out to Donnell. But this is my number. You can always reach out to me and ask any kind of questions you want about the program. This is a QR code for those who are super savvy. You can point your phone at that and it will take you straight to the page. And then finally, sorry.
Could you say your phone number and the website?
Oh, sure.
Because not everybody's chat is always totally
sure.
good. Or just give the best way to reach you.
Yeah. Phone number is great. Our phone number is 510-644-8979. My extension is 103, and Donnell's extension is 105. My email address, all right, wait for it. This is growing up with a name like Scarth. I've got tools. So anyway, it's S as in Sam, C-A-R-T as in Tom, H, and then the letters SMU. That stands for Samuel Merritt University. Then at RTEBN, Rebuilding Together East Bay Network.org. I'd be happy to repeat if anybody was trying to write down and I went too fast. That seems like a no. Okay, so then I will move on to my final page, which is more of just kind of a reference. This is a 2-page home safety checklist, and there are a lot of home safety checklists out there. This one is from the National Fall Prevention Society, I believe. And it's a way, there are 2 pages here, and it has a bunch of questions that just help you to focus your attention on what kinds of things you might need in your home. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but, sorry, somebody.
Your font is too small. I can't see it. The font.
Yeah. Let's see if I can make that any bigger.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, there we go. Hopefully that's a little better. Are you seeing that a little better? Let's see if I'm seeing it magnify. Oh, it looks like it is magnifying. Yeah. And as I mentioned, this I did include this in the chat. You can download the PDF of this whole thing and you can read it at your convenience. So, it gives a bunch of these are good questions to ask yourself for emergency preparedness. For example, the third one on this list, are there emergency phone numbers and the person's home address near the telephone? So if there's an emergency and somebody has to call 911, they have the important information nearby. Is there clutter? Is mail piling up? Is your medicine clearly labeled? In places where there are tripping hazards like steps, do you have non-slip, like anti-slip strips on the steps? Are there loose rugs? Are there loose extension cords? Are your carbon monoxide and smoke alarms recently installed and checked? Where do you have handrails? Where do you not have handrails? Going down this list. I'm not going to hit every one of these, but just to give you just sort of a general idea here. Are outdoor steps sturdy and textured to prevent falls? And then in bathrooms, there's you always want to think about whether you have grab bars near toilets or in your shower. Setting your water heater to a lower temperature can not only can it help you save on your utilities, but it can help you avoid scalding yourself. Having a night light, like a motion sensitive light that can light up so that you're not walking in the dark when you go to the bathroom. Looking at safety knobs on and automatic shutoff switches on stoves. Lighting and plumbing is another issue that I frequently deal with in kitchens. You want to look at locks on the outside, and also sort of, is your lighting on the outside sufficient so that you can see, or somebody else, so that you can feel secure in your home. are areas that feel vulnerable? Do they have lights that come on when somebody approaches? Trimming bushes and foliage away from walkways. So there are a number of things, and this is not there's almost no such thing as a comprehensive list. Every home is different. But this is a nice starting point if you're thinking about kind of future-proofing your home. So yeah, if I'm guessing that at least some of you would be able to get the PDF that I put in the chat and download it, and that will give you access to this list. So that's the end of my presentation. I think there were a few questions and some follow-ups that didn't get asked. Were those of you who still have remaining questions like to pop up? And
I just want to ask you too, you do not serve renters.
That's correct. Not right now.
I think there was a little misunderstanding. And two, what geographical areas do you serve? I don't know that was clear to.
Alameda and Contra Costa counties.
Okay. So we got a good range of where people are living. Yeah.
That's right.
So please.
But not Oakland specifically.
Well, yeah. So we are doing some work in Oakland. Alameda, well, it's hard to explain this without getting in the weeds. We are on the cusp of writing a contract with the whole county of Alameda to do work. Right now in Alameda we have a contract with the city of Alameda, with the city of Hayward, and then all the other cities in Alameda County, except for Berkeley, we have a lot of relationships with Berkeley. So Berkeley is kind of its own special beast as far as the kind of work we do. We do a lot of work in Berkeley. I can't say immediately yes to anywhere in Alameda County, but I would also never say no. It's a bit of a case-by-case basis, depending on the extent of the work and where the person is.
I see Linda has her hand up. Linda, do you have a specific question, or was that about the renters?
Hi, Linda. I know Linda.
Okay.
Linda? Oh, she has her hand up, but I don't hear anything.
So, let's suppose someone's a renter, as many of our members are. Some own homes, some are renters. If one has an uninhabitable, even a rent-controlled unit, because we know that our rent control system doesn't mean landlords are always making repairs. Is there something about getting this checklist into the hands of the rent board or to the city building inspector? What would you say if people aren't eligible for what you're doing? How do we get the habitability guidelines, these ones, in front of the right people? Or however you want to answer that question. How do we help renters get, organized to make some difference?
Oh, so I know a little about that, but more from my personal experience as a renter. Because my building changed hands a few times, and there was some concern along the way that I would fall into the hands of an unscrupulous landlord. I have some resources, but not immediately available for renter advocacy groups. This list, these are not things that a landlord would be required to do necessarily, but there are lists of things that a landlord would be required to do. I'd have to get back to you on that.
Well, let's plot and plan. I'm sure other people will be in touch with you too. I do see Jackie's hand is up. Am I saying that right?
Jackie, you're on mute. Can you? There we go.
There. As a senior geriatric social worker for many years, I volunteered, and then at age 90, a car hit me, and I've needed a lot of help. And they're working on replacing my 1915 hot water heater, and they found that my home was not up to compliance, and they put a hood in, and I greatly appreciate the services, and Danielle is a force to be reckoned with.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah,
an unsolicited recommendation and reference for rebuilding together.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I lost or misplaced my monthly Clipper pass yesterday. And no, I'm not paying.
We don't have
Carol.
any resources for Clipper passes.
Okay, because I tried to go on the 88 KC, 88 passed me twice.
I'm not sure who that is.
Passed me twice.
Carol, yeah, let me mute her. I'll mute her there. And Dirk, your hand is up. And Maria Soul's hand is up. You know, we're going to have to wrap up. I could see this has gone even longer, and that's good. That's an important topic. Maybe we can ask you to come back. But Dirk,
Sure.
Or Maria,
if you were
question,
president, what would you do to make building together better besides your wish for more money and more volunteers? What are 1, 2, 3 needs?
My immediate concerns are actually hiring more contractors. We have more work than we have people to do it at this point. So we're really working hard on that. We have volunteers are always welcome, and I'm a good person to call to start that conversation.
I worked on 3 houses back when it was rebuilding, when it was Christmas in April, 3 houses, and it was always needed. There were some interesting family dynamics at a couple places, but
There always are.
It was also great to be part of a team, you know, completely unskilled, but supervised by the proper people. And we replaced a toilet that had broken. We had that for a long time, and a stove, and people who were house proud back when they were working and had a spouse who did repairs. But to get that house back to being something this one neighbor could feel good about, that was a beautiful feeling. I'll just say that. So do you have volunteer work crews or scheduled times when people can get oriented to help you out?
I'm sorry, I was reading Linda XYZ's comment. Could you repeat that question?
I said, do you have regular volunteer orientations, for the unskilled labor when and if you need that?
What we have is a volunteer coordinator who gives people kind of a 1-by-1, like when people come to us, they speak to Fidel. Ultimately, we channel everybody to Fidel, who kind of gives people an orientation and does a little bit of an interview to find out what skills and what availability they have and where they'd like to work. And then once he's got that database, then when we have projects that come up that need volunteers or are a good match for kind of a bigger group, then we start to reach out to volunteers. So it's very much a kind of a project by project thing.
Oh, thank you. Well,
Betsy, please let me speak, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, Maria. Yes, you have the last word, and then we'll applaud our Scarth out, or he can stay. That's Maria, please.
That's why I want to speak. I so commend you, Scarth, not just for your scholarship, but for your boots on the ground, for your heart, for your in-home direct experience, for your care, for your holistic awareness, not only of the insides of people, but the outside requirements and necessities. I just want to hug and love you and thank you forever, because as an elder now, that's so missing. People aren't connecting with people. And then the common sense is missing. Obviously, if you don't want to fall, you need something to hold you up. This is so basic. And I so thank you for working so hard. I first had rebuilding Christmas in April in Santa Fe in 95. And then I've participated here. I've been doing construction for over 60 years. And I've been installing grab bars into studs, not into nowhere. So the fact that you oversee your workers so that maybe things actually work, and the fact that you're tending this, Carol brought up facilities that are paid a fortune to be ADA compliant that are not. You can't even get into a bathroom. It's like, thank you. I want to help, and I'll be in touch. And I just love and thank you. Okay, bye.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Ditto. Scarth, before you go, can you stop sharing your screen so everyone
of course.
can see you?
Silly.
And let's shoot some rockets, hearts, or
yay!
Here, what can I do? I'm going to send rocket ships to you, and we'll cancel the spotlight. Actually, Rains, can you do that? Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And I see more newcomers. Miss Cecilia, Arlene, Pam. Really glad. Thank you. Did our guests, Larry and Adrian from Good Tidings, did you get what you needed, or at least a starter kit?
I missed. Did Larry ever show up? I didn't see it.
There's someone named Larry here. I don't know who. I don't
Larry Moody?
recognize, but welcome. He's muted. He might be driving.
Well,
so I do need to thank you. And then we have another guest speaker for a much shorter presentation. But if you'd like to stick around and learn more about the flock cameras or drones debate, please do. I want to see, there's a message here from Pam White. And did you have any? I think we're ready to transition, but Pam, did you get at least Scarth's, the phone number or contact more information?
Yes, I do need to get that again. That's some fantastic information, because I know a lot of people that are renters and that are homeowners like myself, that were seniors, and we're having difficulties keeping up with these 100-year-old houses and all these new laws that they're making and carrying on. But thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh,
my
and
pleasure.
I see. Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you. I see that in the chat. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I let me just clarify. They don't do renters. They can do, the property owner has to be on the title, or the person being helped has to be on the title. And I know that is an incredible limitation. We're Berkeley in particular, Oakland, we have majority renters. So we'll have to work on you to get that side of things opened up.
I'll take all the help I can get.
All right. Thank you so much. Scarth. And
my pleasure.
Just a sneak preview. I haven't confirmed it yet, but Danielle Faulkner, who was mentioned earlier, who helped Jackie, is we want to bring the big skills program into our next speaker meeting, but we definitely are hoping to have a little field trip in May. So I hope I can speak to her to make the final arrangements on having her come speak to us or having a field trip. So talk to you soon. That's for building ADUs, right? For people's backyards. A different program, more limited than I'm making it out to be. But Scarth, are we good? Okay.
Yes, good. So we do that as well. Also somewhat limited, but we have an ADU program.
So let just hang it there that we're trying to find the big skills program which is a fabulous one, to come and speak to us or be part of our Affordable Housing Month tour of ADUs and co-ops. So all that to be announced later.
Can you say what is Big Skills? You saying the name. I don't know what it is. What is Big Skills?
Betsy, I can do real fast if you want.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Big Skills is a workforce development program. So we have high school students building ADUs.
Okay, thank you.
And then those ADUs get placed in a variety of places.
Okay. And they built 15 and but only one in Berkeley, as far as I know. I could be wrong about that. So we got to work on that too.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Arlene. Okay. Well, then take a breath. I'm going to be turning this over to George Lippman, who lives here in Berkeley, and some of us are aware of his incredible work on the Peace and Justice Commission and for furthering the measure, the one that created the Police Accountability Board. But he asked to speak with us about, I'm going to turn it over to George. We flock, but not everyone knows what that is. And, our board has not voted to endorse one way or another, but we have supported, limits on police violence and other measures. So this is something important that's come up in the last couple months that our city council and the Alameda County supervisors are considering or have already voted on. So George,
just a reminder that our board is perfectly capable of endorsing any item that's not a person running for office.
Yes, we can. We just haven't done this. So
okay,
we could discuss it, later. But George, tell us
sure.
The latest bad news from the world.
Sure.
Spotlight you. Yeah. Do that.
Hooray for Rebuilding Together. And I think that there we go. Okay. And hi to my many friends in the meeting. It's good to see people. So yes, I'm a member of the Peace and Justice Commission and also a member of the Human Welfare and Community Action Commission. Both of them are there for the progressive movement and for progressive change in Berkeley. And they're official city government commissions, and they need people to serve on them. Particularly, human welfare has a lot of openings. So I'll just begin, and I know I'm going to try to do a very expansive conversation condensed into 5 minutes, so that'll be fun. But we'll have maybe several minutes for questions and answers after that. So Flock is as a company, Flock Safety, it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation that provides what I would call surveillance systems. They deny it's surveillance, but when you have currently 52 automated license plate readers all around Berkeley, capturing photos of every car in the city, that's a lot of mass surveillance. And that's the start. Now, what's being proposed now for 2026 is a vast expansion of that system. They'll be bringing in, or they plan to bring in, video cameras, fixed cameras, a program of drones, they call unmanned aerial surveillance. Another program to integrate all of that technology and all of that data, surveillance data, together so that you can form a much larger picture or fuller picture of all the residents of the city and people who travel here. And another one called Community Streams, which is to take all the like the Ring and Nest cameras that people have in their homes, and with the consent of the homeowner, utilize them as well. So they're developing what they call a flock ecosystem of intelligence, and that is pretty frightening to a lot of people. Where we're at on this is that it's been debated for months. It's coming back to the city council on May 7th. It's likely there will be a decision at that point whether to go into contracts with Flock for all of that. And it's a pretty like even split on the council. There are 4 members who are against it. There are 5 proponents. And the question is, can any of those be moved? We'll see on May 7th. That meeting is a special meeting, 5 p.m. on Thursday, May 7th. It's in 2 weeks. Your as Berkeley residents, your input to the council members, particularly from your own district, but from any district or all districts, and the mayor is really welcome. Now, just to explain the concerns that people have, I think they break down into basically 2. One of them that's gotten a lot of publicity is that ICE is a company that works closely. Sorry, that Flock is a company that has passed information to ICE, to the immigration authorities, and to Department of Homeland Security, which ICE is part of. And there's a number of ways that this kind of data can get to them. They say they don't work with ICE. They say they don't give information to ICE, but the information finds its way there. And there are a number of pathways. One is just that some other department will make a request or a search on Berkeley's database or any database within Flock. They'll do a search for immigration or ICE or whatever, and they can pull back a lot of information, and then if they're friendly with ICE, they'll just give it to ICE. On top of that, a judicial subpoena from cannot be ignored. So sometimes the answer that we'll get from the police department is, "Oh, they don't give data to ICE." Well, maybe they don't directly, but this is a very what's a good word? Unstable relationship. It's very insecure is the word. And they'll have provisions in it that say, well, Flock will not give information to ICE unless they're legally required to do so. Well, they're legally required by a legitimate subpoena, and under Trump, that's more and more likely to happen, especially with the use of what's called FISA warrants, which is Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, I think. Those are secret warrants. So that's kind of crazy, but it comes out of the Patriot Act after 9/11. And it's actually a felony to tell the city of Berkeley for Flock to tell the city of Berkeley that they've been subpoenaed. So it's pretty Orwellian, but that's where we're living in. The other thing I want to talk about, if I still have a minute or two.
You're very close to the 5. You might have gone it, but go ahead, wrap up and let us know any actions you're asking us to consider individually.
I just think that is a larger question also of surveillance. And this is a big debate that happens even among progressive people. We don't like crime. We want to stop crime, but we have to ask the questions about, is the cure going to be worse than the disease? And it feels like we are moving very rapidly from a program or mindset of community policing away from using live people, police officers, and towards relying on technology and robots and drones and computer programs. And I think that's a really wrong-headed way to go. And I think that's another aspect of this. Is this really going to stop crime? It's debatable. So leave it there, and I'll answer questions.
Dirk and Maria Sol. Dirk had his hand up first. Do you want to take those?
What are the names of the 5 proponents of surveillance?
Who are the 5 advocates, supporters?
Okay, so the 5 advocates are Rashi Kesarwani,
District 1.
District 1, Shoshana O'Keefe, District 5, um, Mark Humbert, District 8, Terry Taplin, District 2, and then Brett Blackaby is a proponent, but he's considered the one that could most likely, he would most want to posture himself as a civil liberties proponent.
What district is he?
They're gone.
He's in District 6, so we'll see what happens with him. But a lot of people are targeting him as somebody they should be in meeting with him and so forth.
Oh, shit.
May I speak,
Pardon.
Betsy?
Ignore that. Ignore that. So Maria?
Yes. Hi, George. And
Hi.
thank you very much. George and I are both on the Human Welfare and Community Action Commission meeting together, and I so appreciate his work in the Peace and Justice Commission. But I want to give a context to this because George mentioned safety. The people that are wanting this are all dug in about safety, and it doesn't prevent, it sometimes helps people get caught, which is punitive. And it has a lot to do with the Police Accountability Board, which has been cut in half and is barely managing to function. And hopefully it will, because it's pretty necessary. And the police department, again, which is part of the whole militarization, more toys for the boys. And it's exceedingly scary. So, yes, there's people that advocate that some of these drones and surveillance might help with regard to fire, or not sending people. They can send equipment, and or track things down and assess situations, which is necessary if there is an emergency. However, again, tools in the wrong hands, as we see around the globe, are exceedingly dangerous. So again, thank you, George, and God bless everybody. Here's to peace. Thank you.
I see in the chat that, George, you put in a link to berkeleyspeaks.org. Is that your newsletter or something else you want to flag?
That is a social justice newspaper for Berkeley. It's about 3 years old. I co-edit it with Bunachima. So we have information on all different types of social issues in Berkeley, and we welcome submissions. We'll print anything good that comes in, and happy to look at stuff on aging, disabilities, housing, all that. And then I put a second link in, specifically a resource guide for this topic for Flock in Berkeley. We're hoping for people who are able to do so to come to the meeting on the 7th. Write your council member and the mayor, but please try to come if you can, or can share that information with other folks. We want to put on a really big showing. But, and whatever you think, please speak your mind.
Thank you, George. I know we're going to probably want to discuss this. Can
wait, Betsy, I'm sorry. George, at the city council meeting yesterday, they said that the reason why this decision was postponed was because there was going to be a public safety meeting prior. And I cannot find when that meeting is, where Rashi and, all the people that are advocating for this meet, that we all show up at. Do you know what the date is for that?
I don't think it was a public safety committee meeting that they're referring to. It was more of a community conversation.
No. All right. So I'm just asking you to check that out, because never mind. We'll talk about it later. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
So I wanted to know, a number of our members live in Oakland or other parts, mostly Oakland, but Alameda County mostly. Can you say a little about the vote? Was there a vote yesterday at the county supervisors, or was it City Council of Oakland?
It was the Board of Supervisors.
Thank you. Do you have, well, I'll let George answer, but Arlene, you'll chime in.
Postponed until May 12th.
Oh.
I think that there was a vote that in the, as I was there halfway through, but I heard that they took a vote in support of extending the flock contract.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what's May 12th, but I think that's a done deal. That's through June. And
Yeah.
they said after that they would put it out to an RFP to see what comes next. But so
Thank you for that information. I didn't attend the meeting.
yeah, I think that round of it has finished, and also Oakland finished their process a little while back, and they overwhelmingly supported. The Board of Supervisors and Berkeley are very split, so there's room for a lot more discussion in those two venues.
I do have a question since
Okay,
I'm
go
talking.
ahead.
I was wondering about the use of AI in flock technology. AI seems to discriminate against certain colors you can't see, and I wonder if that comes up in the conversation with this entire flock um, contract. Maybe given that the populations of people of the diaspora, the numbers are lower. Is it in the conversation or is it not in the conversation?
Well, it's totally in the conversation with regard to facial recognition. And uh, I would say that Berkeley is against facial recognition software, and that's one of the reasons that it's racially discriminatory, or because it's just flawed and badly designed. I don't know about AI in general. But so they say no, we're not going to use facial recognition, at least not at this time. So that's a good thing. However, if you look at this not about one piece of technology or one city's rules, but you look at the big picture of what's happening in the country with technology, it's like that ecosystem that Flock talks about. Um, if you if there's a lot of misrepresentation going on. If you look at the tiniest little, view of something, well, we're only getting a license plate. How bad is that? You're in the public domain. You don't have reasonable expectation of privacy, all that. But then you put that, okay, but then you put that together with all the other billions of data points from around the country, and in that big mix, facial recognition is part of it. So we're helping to create this system that is going to be racially discriminatory, is going to provide, when Minneapolis happens in Berkeley and Oakland, which is going to happen, they're going to have all these tools to draw on. And if we think, oh, well, this is just for the purpose, we have good policies. We're only going to use this for, um, helping find missing children or something. Please don't believe any of that. Once you have the data, it can be used for anything. If you don't have the data, they can't use it for nefarious purposes, which that's a lot to chew on, but I want to mention that very soon we're going to be coming up against proposals for tear gas and pepper spray and police dogs and police helicopters, and they put all that on hold so that we could get through this flock nonsense. But that'll be the next thing, and I'm sure people will want to talk about that.
I'm put my hand up, but someone else may have already been there. I'm not seeing who else put their hand up.
Maria's hand is up.
Well, Maria, you've already spoken, so if you don't mind, as important as that is, I'm going to ask my question then. So I heard, there's a package of contracts that the city council is not going to do competitive bidding on, which the auditor says, hey, why are we doing it's called sole source contracting. That's not even my point. My question is, drones that can get to a traffic accident very, first thing, or a drone that responds to, somebody who's tripped and fallen on a public street, or someone who's, as one of our members was a few years ago, a young member who was a small person, kind of gender fluid, and they were beaten up on Telegraph Avenue. and would have appreciated a camera. And we know that some of the senior buildings have lacked basic security because their property management haven't fixed the front door locks for 4 months at a time. So there's good reasons why some of these tools could be helpful. Do you see any way that maybe at a later time, when we're not so threatened by ICE, that some of these tools could be modified so they don't have a permanent memory? Can you speak a little about that? Just because I don't want to assume, because I walk around feeling safe, that everybody is or does feel safe. The biggest crime area is up on campus. That's what I know. Mm-hmm. So can you say a few words about that? Like, is there a way this could be helpful to our sense of well-being? And how should we articulate that?
Well, I'm not anti-technology. Like, I was a big proponent of police body cameras,
okay.
And dashboard cameras. And I think that protects people from the police, and protects police from false accusations. There's a lot of reasons for it. So I think that in our newspaper there's a statements from the mayor and from council member Luna Parra. They both say we're not anti-technology, but it has to be appropriate and it has to be really mindful. And there have to be civil liberties and civil rights activists on the panel with the police, and not just the police saying, here's all the great things about it, and don't worry, there's not going to be any problems. There also have to be the other folks from the ACLU sitting next to them saying, well, what about this? And here's a better way to do it. We're just like barreling ahead with something that is going to be a real problem. So this is a conversation that I think your group should have, every group should have. I don't have all the answers. I think this is the wrong proposal at as you say, the wrong time. But we have to start creating solutions to a lot of things in the city, like street safety, like a lot of things, and that respond to multiple needs, multiple sections of the community. We're not good at doing that. There's another one.
Thank you. There's some chats to you, thanking you and agreeing with you. So I'm sure there would be a lot more if we were faster typers. But George, thank you so much. And the best way to reach you, would that be through berkeleyspeaks.org?
That's fine. Yeah, at the bottom of every page, there's our address.
On that, okay. So if people want to know more about actions or deadlines, you've announced 2 weeks, May
7th,
May 7th,
Thursday night at 5 o'clock. But it's going to be going on all evening, and you can dial in, berkspeak@gmail.com.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Wow. Thank you. Great info.
Thank you. I'm going to download the chat here so I can save it.
Yeah, I encourage everyone to download chat who's able to. I'm doing it, and we'll have it available. I'm hoping maybe Carol could send the chat to people after we download the final thing,
Can I ask George one last question? Are you working only specifically with Berkeley and not having Flock, or are you working in the region, in the Bay?
Yeah, I'm working in the county and the city. County. That was a meeting yesterday in the city of Berkeley.
Okay.
And we're in touch with people in other cities.
Okay, thank you so much.
ACLU is regional, and it's a great resource.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, George. Wow. So was there a motion? David sometimes likes to make them here, but we will pick this up at the next board meeting. And if anyone as a voting member wants to,
what sort of motion are you fishing for?
I thought you might want to make a motion of support for the voting members here to convey to the board, but not hearing one, I'll just go on with it.
I think it's a little bit early for a vague motion at this point.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Then
Is George still here?
he's
I'm
shut off his video.
I am here. I'm still here.
I think there's a lot of supporters, what I'm saying, George. So we'll get back to you.
No doubt there's a lot of supporters, but if George, a motion of some sort from the general group here would avail you, let me know right now.
Yes. It would be great to be able to use the name of Gray Panthers. And
do we have enough people here to give the name of EBGP? Then I move we... What? Someone was speaking. Am I repeating? I'm lost.
Optimistic because.
Sorry, I was going to make a motion to support, in general, George's efforts to restrict the ability to stop the city of Berkeley from a contract that would enable them to hire engage with Flock services in order to provide facial recognition cameras of any sort to the city of Berkeley.
So
is that it, George?
Just to comment on that. Well, first of all, I'd prefer you don't use my name, but if you want,
George, you're not a voting member, so I'm going to ask you. May I rephrase that, David?
Oh, I just want to find from George if that's what he's looking for before we rephrase.
Okay, but I would take out facial recognition.
Oh,
that's not what they're doing. I would say flock surveillance technology.
But the
would you care to rephrase my motion, Betsy?
I'm sorry, we are not ready. Clearly, because we.
Oh, no, we should do it.
How about this, David? If you and George, let me go on with the agenda. I'm calling it as your co.
Well, we have a majority here who just heard George's presentation.
Well. Carol, you
I hate to not strike while the iron is hot.
We're going to have a knockdown, and
I don't think there's any objection.
Yeah,
Hallie has her hand up.
Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have any video. I just sent a letter to the city council, and I got an email from someone saying that the mayor is against the flock.
Yeah.
So I sent an email as a private citizen saying that I was opposed to flock and please do not, and I addressed it to the mayor and the city council. So if we can't get anything done today from the group, I strongly urge you all to send letters to the city council saying that you do not approve of flock.
Betsy, I would like to amend my motion.
I'm going to say that I think Arlene and Carol are in agreement with you. Go ahead. Deliver a simple, just make it a motion to endorse. That's the
to endorse against.
Berkeley speaks on this issue. Something.
No. I think we need to actually oppose the hiring of Flock video.
So what is your motion?
My motion is to put EBGP on record as opposing the contract with Flock to provide, I'm sorry, George, surveillance services in general. Is that good enough?
But they're already employed by the city. This is about expanding it.
About expanding it, to expand any contract with Flock with their video surveillance systems.
Is there a second?
And I would like to title this motion "What the Flock."
I second it.
Okay, thank you, Maria. Are there any comments in opposition to this motion? In favor, or can we proceed to a vote? All right, Hallie, you've raised your hand.
No, I was just raising my hand in favor.
Oh, okay. Then everyone,
let's move to the vote.
It is a vote. We're going to the vote. So if you're able to put up your Zoom hand, please do. And if you're a voting member, which just means you're up to date on the dues. And we know who you are. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Carol, are you supporting?
I support.
Camera.
My hand up.
Okay. Maria, Betsy, Arlene, Hallie, Robert, David, Miss Cecilia, Betsy, and Patrick Kehoe. Now, is that 10?
Adrian reports I don't know how to raise my hand.
Adrian, you're expressing your
Adrian, that makes 10.
We're getting an echo. We're getting an echo.
I'm trying to ignore the echo until the vote is over.
I know that some of you are not voting. So with that, we have at least 10 votes. I'm sorry, I'm like losing track. Are there any votes in opposition? Please take your hands down, and we'll make this more formal. If there's any abstentions, so I see.
Take your hands down if you're not opposed.
And okay, I believe this motion is approved, and we will also discuss it again at the board meeting if there's any other conversation we need to have. But in the meantime, East Bay Gray Panthers is on the record as opposing expansion of the Flock contract for enhanced surveillance and data services. And there was a statement from George that we can also speak in favor of the mayor's proposal. Mayor and council member Luna Para
and Trega also.
Yeah, and Trega. All right. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
We have
should we be endorsing that, George? I didn't include that.
Oh, that's.
No, I'm sorry. That's an aside. He just put that into.
Take it up at the board.
Okay. Thanks. All right. That was vigorous. Thank you, George. We now need to turn over to updates, coming events, and from members who have been active on particular projects on behalf of East Bay Gray Panthers. Thanks, George. So we wanted, I'd like to, is there anyone else who could speak about the renters convention, the tenant convention that was held last Sunday? We were co-sponsors of the interview process because at the end of the day, Gray Panthers doesn't endorse particular candidates. But if you are over the age of 16 and live in Berkeley, if you will please go to the website, I wrote it down. It's tenant, what is it? berkeleytenants.org. It's very tiny font, but there's a place there to request a ballot, right? It's the second link down. If you want to show that, Rains, that'd be fantastic. Anyway, there are 7 people who applied for endorsement by the consortium, the tenant convention sponsorship groups. And if you would like to know who they are and see their applications and qualifications, please go to berkeleytenants.org and take a look at that. You can request a ballot up to Friday, till midnight on Friday, and then voting continues until April 28th. And all of that information is on that berkeleytenants.org page. And I will just say there were the 2 incumbents, and one of the new applicants seeking endorsement is from Harriet Tubman Terrace. And and you can go to berkeleytenants.org and exercise your vote as a community grassroots voter. The actual election is in November, and for that, you actually have to be registered to vote and receive, a ballot for the whole lineup of governor. Is there an announcement about the governor's forum and the ACE action that, Arlene, are you able to speak to that? She may have stepped away. Maria, do you want to speak about
the debate
Maria?
is tonight at 7 on Channel 4.
So there is several governors forums, and one of them I believe is May 8th, and it is it's $100 to attend. But the one tonight, how much is that? I mean, it's free online, but who's sponsoring it and where would one get that information?
Channel 4 is
Yeah, it's free on TV, regular TV.
At Channel 4. Thank you, both of you. I haven't kept up on that. I also want to
TV. On streaming is KRON TV with a plus sign.
Okay. Next, Carol. Is Carol Morozovic still here? She was going to report back on two things. I'm talking too much. I apologize if there's someone else who has an announcement of an event, please, that tracks our community, please put up your hand. But for the time being, I'm just going to deliver what I can. So we have been deeply involved. Carol and I, to different extents, are involved in a proposed die-in, which is Medicaid Cuts Kill. It is happening May 21st outside of Eastmont Mall. There'll be a flyer soon. And the lead on this, there's about 12 groups that Gray Panthers is working with. And the lead, I don't know, nonprofit sponsor, maybe that's the wrong word, is SEIU UHC for you. Is that correct, Carol? Anyway, there's a union that is co-sponsored. There's multiple unions, but that's the one that's willing to sort of pay for anything that's coming up. The planning meeting is every Friday. If anyone would like to join, get in touch with me. It's really just meant to be one vote, one organization, but other people can listen in, I think. There'll be 100 tombstones. There'll be 100 scrubs like you wear as a patient in the hospital, so people can participate either by lying down or sitting up with the tombstone. I'm charged with finding music for the event. It's May 21st. Please put it in your calendar if you're able to come. That would be fantastic. It's not a Zoom event. It's meant to be the first of a whole statewide series. So this is publicity for the event to continue on to confront the cuts in the state budget. Carol, do you want to add anything? You're muted. Okay. So the last piece of this is that the union who's hosting us is also the sponsor, the lead for what's been called the billionaires tax. And I got word this morning that there are more than enough signatures, so it should get on the ballot, but those signatures are all being checked. So that's good news for those of us who do believe there needs to be more revenue in the state budget, so we're not killing people by turning off their home health care aids or their medications or other things that keep people alive and well, food stamps and whatnot. And the reason I'm bringing up the billionaires tax is Carol Morozovic was alerting me that there are several other competing bills that are put forward by those billionaires. There's something called does anyone, anyway, if you're
ballot measures?
Yeah, these are for ballot measures, for bonds. I'm sorry, for a tax, a one-time tax on 5% of the assets of billionaires. But the opponents to this tax are basically paying top dollar, if you want to be a petition gatherer, signature gatherer, and they're also giving away like swag, which is illegal, I believe. Someone correct me on this. So please be aware, we Gray Panthers got approached and asked if we would like to hear a talk by the paid staff person for the Save Our Savings campaign, because they're basically trying to set up to scare people into thinking that this billionaire's tax is going to come after their savings, our retirement accounts. So, and there's several others. So be very careful about what you sign, but just be on the alert. And I'll send more information around as it evolves. But if you have any contacts in East Oakland, especially with groups of people who receive Medicaid services or provide Medicaid services, Medi-Cal programs, then, we want to make sure you're able to participate in this event. So that's part of been our Gray Panthers role, is to talk about what people who have disabilities or seniors and are not going to be lying down on a sidewalk for 90 minutes. That's it. I'll leave that. But I'm very excited about the event. And forgive, my phone is ringing. The second issue that Carol and I have had a lot of talks about is that Berkeley has an elevator ordinance with pretty strict fines and penalties that the landlords need to give to any resident who is hindered when the elevator breaks down. I mean, people who are physically unable to get to basic life activities because they cannot get down the stairs. So the fines, if you know someone living in a multi-story building and the elevator has been out, then we need to get the word out that lawyers will take these cases for free, because there's a penalty at the other end that says the lawyer's fees are paid by the landlord. That's assuming there is genuinely a good case. So Maria has been in touch with folks at Mabel Howard Apartments above Lifelong Medical, the over 60 clinic. So here in Berkeley, and we're wanting to get the word to the tenants, in particular those who have wheelchairs in particular, that they have the right, and there is in fact a law firm, and Carol Morozovic can refer you to a law firm that will take this case. I mean, we're talking about like $200 and up to $10,000, $250 a day. But the Berkeley elevator ordinance is also in some variation, there's an Oakland elevator ordinance. So this is step one of getting better elevators and getting better elevator repairs that I don't know, so I'm pursuing. I think it's really interesting. I mean, it's terrible that people can't use the elevators to get in and out of their building. But this is actually a chronic problem around the US. We have the most expensive elevators in the world. We have of most expensive elevator repair people, and there is a limit on the number of people who can get in to be trained. So there's like workforce development aspects to this, as well as, of course, standing up for the rights of disabled, of the ADA, and for seniors, because we're covered under ADA. Okay, let me stop there. I'm going fast. Is there any questions about any of those three issues? Okay, seeing none, let me just invite any open other announcements. Oh, Maria has an announcement to share from our disaster prevention work.
I'm sorry, Betsy. I am totally unprepared, and I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah. Okay. Why are we echoing names? Are you okay? He's okay. So, Hallie. Well, I will say briefly that there is an event at the Berkeley UFF, the Unitarians Hall, which is on Cedar and Bonita, an event around resilient Berkeley creating disaster preparedness hubs, which was one of the initiatives or ways of approaching disaster preparedness that Maria and I, as part of this advisory committee, really stressed. So there's going to be this conversation from like 5 to 8 on, and now this is where my notes fail.
I think it's May 30th.
That far in advance. Okay.
It's either May or April, and I can check that.
I think it's April 30th.
Okay. And
get
again,
in touch. I don't have easy ways to mail everybody.
I can do that if you just let me vouch for your hard work, my hard work, and this incredible group that tried to assess, just like our first presenter, what are the actual needs and what are the actual resources and how can we get prepared? Because I can tell you, we're not. And some of our most valuable resources are getting shut down. And it utterly, utterly, utterly terrifies me because, again, back to our first presenter, this is basic common sense. It's like, how do we take care of the elders other than, we either die or we get older. Everyone is getting older. It's like, this is basic. So thank you, Betsy, for your hard work. Thank you for this group. And I really suggest that everyone does get involved. And I will text what the date is because I can look it up.
Rains gave it to me. It's April 30th.
There you go.
6:30 to 8 at the Unitarian Berkeley Fellowship of Unitarian. There it is. It's in chat. And it is hosted with the Berkeley Disaster Preparedness Network, Neighborhood Network, David Peedy, who spoke to us a few years ago and got us an education about the elevator situation as well. So it is teamed up with a group called Collective Resilience to offer a workshop. If anyone can't see that chat, then get in touch. Okay, thank you so much. Hallie?
Yeah, I just wanted to let people know that Indivisible Berkeley is now having a rally every Wednesday afternoon from 5 to 6 in front of the South Branch Terea Pittman Library. That's on Russell and MLK. And 5 to 6 every Wednesday. And barring rain, I'm there with my little PA, and we'll all be singing.
Sweet. Thank you. And if you put it in the chat, if you have a chance to put it in the chat, then we'll save it all and send it back out. It actually, what happens is it gets posted at our website for the event, along with the recording. All right. Any other last announcements or conversations? All right. I call the meeting adjourned. And we can just open for conversation. And I will close my audio.